Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here. Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Top 10 Songs. He's already starting off. We haven't even announced
my WSOU.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, is it about Testament? I thought it was Rush 2112 we were talking about.
Do whatever you want, Steve. Anyway, we're here another edition of Top 10 Songs from Rock Fantasy. We got Steve Keeler in the house and our extra special guest, Chris Caffery from TSO and Savatage and Spirits of Fire. Hot off the Spirits of Fire album.
Hot.
And Chris is going to join us to do a Top 10 Songs of Testament.
Should have dropped my menu.
Classic Bay Area thrash band who's still going strong today. So how we work this is we're going to kick off from number 10, go all the way down to number 1. We're going to do a round robin type of thing. So Steve's going to get us all started here.
We're ready to rock. We're going to do the top 10 countdown.
That's right.
Number 10 from the Gathering album, Legions of the Dead. Anybody know that one?
I know Legions of the Night by Savatage. I know.
I don't know. Steve and I are connecting big time.
You heard that one before.
I heard that one before. Chris,
they're brothers in metal. What do I have for 10? I have Formation of Damnation for my number 10 one. I like that song.
That's a really
the song from the same album, which is
a
great. That's a strong album that he came back.
It is. That's
comeback album.
That's the hard thing about the Testament thing. When you ask for top 10 Testament songs, is a lot of those records have 5 or 6 songs I could put in the top 10 list.
This was the toughest list I did tonight. We did a couple other bands. You'll see that we did film tonight and classic rock bands. And the Testament one is the toughest one, I thought, because they have so much material.
Well, that's when you start to look into the records and you're like, oh, I like this song better. I like this song.
First you think that's kind of easy. But then you start thinking, well, wait a minute. The new stuff is really good. The newer albums are very good. So they're not like a band that, some other bands don't really put out really good albums still that are from that genre, I think. I'm not mentioning any names, but Testament is still strong as hell. You got Gene Hoglan on drums. You got Skolnick. So you got a great band still going.
I think like Testament and Overkill and
the bass player is supposed to be pretty good in Testament.
Creator still putting out a great album. Some people may do.
I hear a lot of good things about the bass player. He's a lot of fun.
I think he was another band or somebody.
He's taller than me though. He's taller than everybody.
Anyhow,
and again, I may just be shorter than everybody.
Your number 10.
My number 10 is the same as your number 10. Legions of the Dead.
Oh my God! You're copying again. We'd already done this in the last round.
I'm telling you, that's a barn burner of a tune.
Well, we'll see if we can get number 9 together.
Right.
Imagine if we could do the top 10.
That would be unheard of, but I guarantee it won't happen. But go ahead. What do you got?
Number 9. This could be up way further on the list. Into the Pit.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Which is one of their highlights of their sets because they still do it. I mean, people go crazy when this comes
That's
on.
a great album.
It is a great album.
What do you got there, Chris?
Brotherhood of Snake, I think, is going to be my number 9. I have my top 10 list, and I didn't really order it in top 10, but that one's probably. I think Brotherhood's going to be. Brotherhood's going to be.
The order that's a great song. I thought of putting it on. I saw that tour like 3 times last year. They were warming up Slayer on Slayer's first leg of their farewell tour. So I got to see Testament at the PNC, Jones Beach, and Montauk Mountain, or Music, whatever, in Wilkes-Barre. And Brotherhood of Snake is a great. It's a good album. It's another, like we were saying, it's a brand new album. It's solid.
Oh, I could see through this hat.
They're not resting on their laurels.
No, they're not.
No,
they're not.
Exactly.
You're going to turn into that British guy.
No, but I didn't realize you could see through the eye here, so I'm actually
Jack
seeing.
Skellington's one of our guests now.
This is good. I don't need to move.
There you go. My number 9, First Strike is Deadly from The Legacy, the first album.
All right, I like that.
Great tune.
Yeah.
It's a heavy one.
Crappy production on that album, but man, those songs are awesome.
Yes. In fact, I reached out to you the other day. I was like, we're doing this. Could it just be the Legacy songs? And then I started thinking better about it. But, I mean, I was at the gym and I was listening to Legacy. Like, there's not really any bad songs.
No, there totally is not. Totally is
that was when they were more Slayer-like, I'd say.
Yeah,
a little more of that real... But like you said, the production's not one of this other stuff. So, boom.
All right. That was what, number 8?
Yeah.
Chris, what do you got?
More Than Meets the Eye.
Great song.
Yeah, that is good.
It's my number 8.
That's another strong.
It could go higher than 8, but it's at on
that
a
Formation of Damnation.
On this menu, it's at number 8.
Hey, Tap, maybe we'll go there and grab a burger.
That was the only clear paper.
I didn't get dinner yet.
Number 7.
We're sponsored by Tap. Craft
Number
beer
7 is
restaurant
Buffalo pulled chicken.
Flatbread.
Don't tell them number 7 yet.
On the flatbread, off the flatbread album.
So my number 8 from the New Order, Trial by Fire.
I love that song.
Yeah,
that was actually that. I have that.
Another great live tune for them.
I have that at 7. Yeah.
Steve, our viewers are only seeing like your ear.
Okay. I'm looking over my list because I think there was a bit of a.
That's right. They're staring at the Metallica pinball.
They'd rather see that anyway, right?
Yeah, number 7. I crossed out both number 7s earlier today, and I never put one back. So we're having a little bit of a problem. I'm going to have to pick one just out of the blue right here. I'm going to pick out the New Order.
Yeah, why not?
The New Order's here.
Yeah, that's a great one.
I could have picked. I was going to throw a ballad in just to shake you off on TV land out there, like the Legacy or something.
That's freaking awesome. I never realized what it looked like on. I'm looking through this mouth.
All right, so your turn, sir.
Huh?
Your turn.
Number 7.
You already said. I said 7. My 7, Trial by Fire.
Okay, Trial by Fire.
Cool.
Another great song.
My number 7, the title track to Formation of Damnation.
Yeah.
All right.
Killer tune. Number 6, Steve, what you got?
Number 6 is The Evil Has Landed,
Yeah.
which is just a song about 9/11.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And it hit close to home because we're right by New York City. I don't know if everybody's local is watching the show. I'm sure they're not, but it's all about New York City and destruction. And Testament wrote a song about it, which came out several years later. This was like 7 years later. I think 2008 was the Formation of Damnation. So. All right, that was my number 6. We're throwing it to you, Chris.
Number 6. My number 6 is Rizzo.
That's a good one.
Another good one. That's off of
Dark Roots of Earth.
Dark Roots of the Earth. Yeah.
The first time I ever heard that, it's funny. The first time I ever heard that song, the record had just come out, and I was in Hot Topic.
Really?
And they were playing it in there, and I was like, "Who the hell is it?" And it was just
And you knew it sounded familiar, right? But
exactly.
Like, Hot Topic.
But I never heard it before. But I'm like, this is either a really, really, really good new band, or it's got to be Testament. Because when you heard Chuck, but it was that's a brutal song.
It is. I dig it. My number 6, Chris has already mentioned, Brotherhood of the Snake.
That came in high on your list, yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
It's on my list, but it wasn't in the top 10.
All right, we're at the final 5.
Uh-oh.
What do you got, Steve?
My number 5 is The First Strike is Deadly.
Yeah. First Strike is Deadly. Chris, what do you got?
My number 5's got to be Souls of Black.
I love that song. It didn't make my top 10, though. I love that album.
Well, that song for me is pretty cool because when Savatage was touring with Testament, when Testament was sound checking, they were writing songs for that record, and they were playing the song Souls of Black and sound check. They were writing it and playing it. So I heard that song as it was being written. I was like, that's a really cool riff. So when you get to hear it on the record,
good. That was off and you must have been touring with them when they were on their practice.
Yeah. When we were on the road with Savatage on the Mountain King tour, I remember Oliva in the tour bus writing he was writing Rage and War in the bus, and I remember hearing that, and he was playing on an upside down acoustic guitars, writing and singing and playing that song. So it's like there's some that you hear in those modes that just kind of
of course.
Different.
My number 5, again back to the Formation of Damnation album, More Than Meets
Right.
Meets the Eye.
Didn't make my top 10 for some reason, but I love that song. I struggled. I had to write it on the side over here in the honorable mentions. I'm like, where do I fit this in there? But what do I take off? You know.
I mean, like you said earlier, that's just a really, really strong comeback album.
It was. Another really strong album. I've got one off right now from the late 90s, DNR, Up the Gathering.
That was in my original list, and I
DNR, which
Do
one of my friends
resuscitate.
was really happy because they're like, wow, they're doing DNR because we were going to the show last summer and they added that on the set list. And actually, when Testament played out at the Decibel Beer Fest out in California, The Gathering was one of the albums they did in its entirety. They had 2 albums, and Gathering was one, and I believe New Order was the other one. So they really A lot of people like The Gathering. I guess if that's the one you're going to
when they first released The Gathering and the Demon album, I wasn't that into it because I didn't really want to hear Testament doing almost like death metal type material. But now, all these years later, you appreciate how great those albums
The Demonic album was so heavy when I came out, too.
Yeah.
That one, John Doe.
John Doe was great. So many good songs up there.
Demonic, Refusal.
Demonic. All right, what do we have? Number 4, Chris, you're up.
Haunting. The Haunting's going to be my number 4. It's a tough
first
one to
album.
put. I'm putting that there.
Dude, I totally messed that up. How is The Haunting not on my list?
I don't know.
He was so busy lamenting.
I don't know, Honky Tonk Woman. How's it not on your list? I don't know, Mr. Hand.
He was watching over the Rolling Stones list earlier, and
so for those of you who watch our Rolling Stones video, both Steve and I completely spazzed, and neither one of us picked Honky Tonk Woman.
Not even as a mention.
Not even as an honorable mention. And he was in the background saying, "Neither one of you guys mentioned Honky Tonk Woman." We're like, whoa, yeah.
Mick Jagger just called you. The backstage passes are gone.
They're gone.
All right.
Gone. Oh well, Jesus. All right, what was that? You just did 4, right? All right, so my number 4 off the Legacy, Raging Waters.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Another great one I don't have on my list. But I mean, you got to put them all. The top 500 Testament songs. Top 100.
All right, the final 3.
Number 3.
Yeah.
I bet you somebody has this one. Over the Wall.
You know what? I don't have that, and that's just because I
did
your
my
list
together
quick,
in like
but
10 minutes.
yeah,
You just walked in.
but I don't.
That was in my original top 10.
It should be in mine too, but it's not there. But
all right, so your number 3.
It could be a bonus.
What do you got for number 3?
This is a tough order for the top 3, but I guess I'm going to put Practice What You Preach as number 3.
That's a good one.
You were telling me a story about that too the other day. They were switching that around in their set when you guys.
Yeah, well, that was like their biggest song when we were opening up for them with Savatage, and Savatage. We just came around to tour America for the very first time after the Mountain King thing, and after Gutter Ballet was number 1 on Dial MTV, and when we finished our set with Mountain King.
Wow.
We went over so good the first night that we played with
song.
them that the next day they changed their set around to open with Practice What You Preach, so that when they hit the stage they had a level to go up to because they were opening with a really cool song, but it wasn't like one of their well-known radio or hit songs. So it's like they came out, and I think the energy of the crowd for Mountain King was a little bit higher than they wanted it to be at that point, and they came out and opened with Practice What You Preach, and of course that song was so huge at the time. So it was neat to see that. So they even told me that they were like, we had to change our set list. So it's like,
you guys are going over too.
But they were huge Savatage fans too, and they were just great friends. So that was a fun tour for me. I had a lot of fun with those guys.
So my number 3, Steve's going to like this one. From Demonic, The Burning Times.
Wow.
Right?
You put a Demonic in. I didn't think you were going to do a Demonic in the top 10.
It's a great tune. It's a crushing tune.
I got to listen to that one again. That one I didn't really put a lot of effort in with this because I was just so busy listening to this one and that one. And Demonic was, when it came out, it was like they were going up against bands like Death and stuff, and they kind of did what they needed to do at that time.
Yeah, they kept it going, right? Because that's what was happening.
Because there was a lot of death metal out, and I'm sure they hung out with a lot of those guys. And you were talking in the show I watched with you about Dio, how Dio mellowed out more towards the end of
the 80s.
In the 80s, where
was not what he should have done. Yeah,
he was listening to the record companies, probably.
Yeah, of course he was. Yeah. All right, Steve, what do you got for number 2?
Number 2 is The Trial by Fire.
Yeah, great one.
The Trial by Fire. I'll sing it for you if you want. Karaoke. Come on, Chris, we got to do one of your karaoke parties one of these days.
There you go. Yeah, I know. People were asking me about that one. I'm going to do another karaoke.
I think that'll be fun.
My number 2 is going to be Into the Pit.
All right. Why not, right?
That was on my list. It could have been higher for sure.
So I guess that's my over the wall would be Into the Pit. Close enough.
Those songs are very close.
They're all great. Yeah. My number 2.
Both of them have giant mosh pits.
Totally. As does this one from the Legacy, Burnt Offerings.
Oh, yeah. Right. Another great Legacy song. See, I couldn't put the whole Legacy albums.
I fit a lot of them on here, but yeah, I could have done more. But it's, All right, number 1 for everybody. What do you got, Steve?
Number 1 is The Disciples of the Watch.
Number 1 is, for me, is Disciples of the Watch.
Number 1 for me is Disciples of the
Wow,
Watch.
the first ever 3-way tie.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Well, it's either incredible or it's just the best song in their catalog. That's in.
Yeah,
I think
it's a great song. Yeah, that's.
So you want me to do some honorable mentions?
Go for it.
I'm gonna say all day long I've had Alone in the Dark in my head, but it didn't make my list.
It's a good one.
What's the other? The Greenhouse Effect. That was off of Greenhouse, off of Practice What You Preach. Hail Mary. That's off of Low, I believe.
Yep.
Souls of Black. I love the
Black.
Souls of Black album. I just didn't think that material was as strong as some of the songs I picked out, but I could listen. Like listening to that album and revisiting Testament when I was doing this list reminded me of working at the class and DJing and like the people that hung around. You know how music can set you in that time period. And listen to that, and then like the ballad, the Legacy, that ballad that was on there.
The Legacy's that's the only bonus song I had written down
that
since I had a short period of time.
Like they did those great ballads. Testament.
Yeah.
They really did some cool ballads, and the
Chris had 5 minutes to prepare for this quiz.
Return to Serenity.
I know
like
more.
the
That's
top,
another one.
One of the top
that
listed songs on.
These guys are naming all my bonus songs. So what they
More Than
say.
Meets the Eye.
That one I like too. That's another.
Electric Crown. As the Seasons Gray. I love As the Seasons Gray.
That's a good one.
Actually, Crown should have been in my top
I can remember
10.
going through the nursing home, and my mom was
Crown
in the
could have
nursing
been
home
in
for
my
years.
top
Rest
10.
in peace, she's gone now. But I'd walk there and I'd get that song in my head because you would just see, what they were singing about in this whole song. The golden years bring out the pain. I'm starting to find out. I'm getting in the golden years. I guess that's done with mine pretty much.
How about the Preacher, Steve?
The Preacher?
Yeah,
I didn't have the Preacher. I remember the Preacher was a DJ in Middletown, John Van Cleef. Remember him?
Yeah.
Preacher.
He's still
Is he still around?
He's in the Carolinas. Yeah.
He used to DJ at the class. No, at the downtown. Yeah.
So here's one we forgot off the first album. Curse of the Legion of Death.
Okay, yeah.
I listened to it today, don't you worry. I put the other death in there. I put the Legions of the Dead.
There you go.
Replaced that one.
You didn't add chicken and waffles from the sandwiches and the large plates.
I didn't eat dinner yet, so I'm probably going to head to Tops after this.
That's our cue, guys. So
that was the Adams
That's
Family
like-
pinball machine saying goodbye.
That's kind of like the game show is over sound.
We're going to do more of these here at Rock Fantasy. Going to make Pete come over. This is too much fun.
All right, guys. Top 10 for Testament. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on the mighty YouTube quite often. Thanks for Steve for allowing us here to hang out and have some fun with music. Thanks to Chris for coming by. Chris and I are going to get together real soon over at his place and do a nice discussion on the Spirits of Fire album. So that's
That'd be
coming
cool.
up in the weeks to come.
Great album.
We got all sorts of great stuff coming up, so don't miss it. Till then, take care, guys. Say goodbye.
RockFantasy.com. Rock Fantasy Concert Shop. Instagram. Find us.